Very hard to be indifferent towards. It's either I hate her with a passion or she's my guru. It's like there's no in between.
Is it true that you felt neglected and not loved in your home? You stated that if you've been cheated on, it's usually your fault.
Absolutely.
I mean, guy or girl?
Both.
You speak fast.
No, I speak so fast. I'm so sorry.
No, just be you.
Yeah,
I
so
like
sorry.
the way.
It's like ADHD. It's like it's on double speed, right?
Okay, so we just finished a long talk.
We did.
So you'll see in this interview with Sadia, which she says that I'm a bit late and I should have invited her much earlier.
Yes, I'm very offended.
So it's a mix. You'll see a bit of Sadia, which maybe you haven't seen in other interviews she's done, because people want to squeeze her brain all the time. I didn't not squeeze her brain. I got a lot from her brain, but also a bit of the human.
Yes.
So you'll get a blend.
Inshallah.
Enjoy. And if you like her, find her everywhere. And if you like us, always subscribe and support. And we have a duty to deliver to you the best interviews. All right. So you said it's a long time coming.
Yes, I did. I said, what took you so long? We're in the same city.
I know. I knew you were in Dubai, but I didn't know for this long.
I live here. I call it my home. Wherever I go, I'm like, I'm from Dubai now.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
So Sadia, how are you really doing?
I'm good. I'm stressed, if I'm honest. I'm overwhelmed. I feel a bit overworked. And I'm actually not designed to be online. I know it sounds strange, but it's just, I'm not designed for it. I'm not one of those people that takes so much pride in people coming up to you and saying, you really helped me. You've done so much for me. I just don't get much from that. I know it's weird. I just don't get a lot from that. I'm quite a, words just good or bad don't mean anything. So I just feel a little bit overwhelmed at this moment, but then I'm sure it will die down and then I will really miss this part of this journey. But at the moment I feel a bit overwhelmed.
How long you been popular?
Only a year, I would say. My first ever podcast was January 2023.
Okay.
My first ever one. Yeah, my first.
But why do you think with the information pollution we have, yours stood out or connected more than others?
All praise be to God, firstly, I would say, but mostly I think what it is I happen to have very traditional Eastern values, but with a complete understanding of the Western philosophy at this moment in time. So I've combined what's going on in this world right now, because I was born and raised in London, but my parents are from Pakistan, I'm Muslim, I live in the Middle East, but I have these very traditional views, but a complete current understanding of what's going on in the Western world. And that combination has resonated, particularly in my Western audience. My Eastern audience kind of already knows this. They're kind of like, oh, well, yeah, that's kind of common sense, blah, blah. But my Western audience is either flabbergasted by how insulting it is and how backwards it is, or they really feel really refreshed by it because it's a set of norms and values which I think most people truly connect with if they do think about it. It will only lead to a more stable, calm life if you do follow a slightly more calm set of values, but it polarizes people a lot. They either hate it or they love it, one or the other.
So would you say people either love or hate you?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm very hard to be indifferent towards, where they just oh, I haven't even thought about it. It's either I hate her with a passion or she's my guru. It's like there's no in between. So, but that was always who I was. Even before online, I've always been quite a triggering personality. It's always been who I am. It's always just, I've always led to more of a reaction in people than I realize. So it was kind of predicted. Would you say that do you trigger people or not so much? What's your reaction? Is it?
I think people are 50-50 about it.
But I would say that you come across really well though. More liked than anything else.
Depends where.
Okay.
I would think females are more okay with me. Males, depends. If you're a confident man, I think you're cool with me.
Yeah.
If you're insecure and I'm highlighting some things that you don't like, you hate me.
Yeah.
But I'm cool with people, and I think I come off because I don't smile too often. People think I'm arrogant, but when they meet me, they're like, "Oh, you're actually nice."
Yeah.
And I get that often.
Ah, okay. So, but generally, when you're out and about, people are nice to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm blessed to be loved.
Yes, it is a big blessing.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're loved for
The
your
right.
own opinions.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're loved as an athlete or loved as an actor, it's like an external reason why people are in love with you. But when they're in love with you for your mind, it's quite an amazing experience.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I like the point. There was a kid that stopped me at a restaurant and he said, you know, I can't wait to be famous. And I was like, why would you want to be famous? He said, no, I just want to be famous. I'm like, yeah, but why? Because you could run off naked in the street and you'll be famous, but maybe for the wrong reasons. But you'll still be famous if I'm following your goal.
Yeah.
So why do you want to be famous is the question. So to be famous for a mindset, it's a beautiful thing because it's you.
It's very lucky because this is what sometimes, because I get so much hate, they're like, we can't wait to cancel you, you're going to get cancelled. I'm like, but I'm still Sadia. You cancel me, I still carry this mind with me wherever I go. I'm still going to be me. How can you cancel my personality? I still live with this brain and this mindset. So what are you going to do? Take my brain? Like, it's not going to happen. So I feel uncancelable because if you work in like as an athlete or a star or something like that, you can literally cut whatever stream of income you've got or that whatever it is that's made you famous. But if you're known for your mindset, you carry that with you with or without the fame. So it's quite nice. We're very blessed to be in this position.
How would you, if I asked you, who are you, Sadia? How would you describe yourself?
On a basic fundamental level, I would just say I am a Muslim woman in the modern world and who seems to be having a very strong understanding of the human mind and human behavior. And I've used that skill set to kind of publicize what I thought was common knowledge, but I don't think it is as much. And just as a result, managed to create a little bit of a platform where I've helped a lot of people, but also hurt a lot of people with my words. So that's what I think who Sadia is today, that's what I would say is.
And how would you summarize, if I really go back to your childhood and I say, describe it in 3 words? What are the 3 words?
I would say an extrovert, but also it was a strange childhood, only because I was super like popular and adored outside of the home, but in my home I was really left out and really ignored. So I was these 2 people. I was this super unpopular person in my house with my siblings, but then this super popular person outside. So the person I was in the home was just not the person how people would respond to me. So I had this real conflict of, am I liked or am I not liked? And that's where I kind of got like that bipolar in me. Like I'm either like really liked or really hated, and that was how I grew up, with that kind of conflict of like being not so accepted by my siblings, but really accepted by my friends, and I just didn't know where I stood. I didn't know if people actually like me or hate me.
So we would say strange, we would say extrovert, and one more?
I would say helpful.
Helpful. Why would you say helpful?
I feel privileged when people ask me to help them. I don't feel burdened by it.
Even when you were young?
Even when I was young. If someone, like, you know how people would be like, oh, you only call me when you want something? I would always feel privileged that you think of me when you need someone to help you. Even though you haven't spoken to me in ages, when you need someone to help me, you call me. I always saw it as a positive thing. So when people only call me because they want something, I'm actually like, oh, I'm grateful that I come to mind when you need someone to help, rather than I don't get annoyed by that.
And how was it being in a Pakistani home, but in the UK?
Difficult. It was very, very difficult because I was in a school that was entirely like English, entirely English. So I was totally different. I wasn't allowed out. I've never allowed a boyfriend. I'm never allowed to drink alcohol, nothing. I wasn't allowed to show my arms, show any part of my body. It was just never allowed. So when you have that, you have 2 choices. You either totally rebel and just think, screw this, I'm going to do everything that my parents tell me not to. Or what I did instead is internalize and attach to the rules I was given and think these rules must be better than that lifestyle. So I think I went down more the route because there was no way I could rebel. My dad like watches me, even now he watches me like a hawk. So I don't have a choice. I couldn't really rebel. So what my brain did is think, well, it must be for the best. It must be for the best. And because I was religious and stuff, I kind of understood it. So I always kind of disassociated with what's going on in the world and what's going on in society and the trends. I didn't see it as, oh, I wish I was part of that. I saw it as, I'm so glad I'm not part of that. And I was happy to be the outsider. And that's where the happy to be the outlier on social media comes from. I was like, I was always different anyway, so it's not the end of the world.
And is it true that you felt neglected and not loved in your home?
I felt it from my siblings. My parents are very loving. My parents were always super loving, but my siblings were not. And I don't know why, and they're still like that. It's still very much like that. I was just never really accepted by my siblings. There's lots of girls in my, and this is where I kind of, you know how people kind of mention how I have a real male perspective quite a lot. I think when you grow up in a home full of girls and you see how mean they are to each other and you see how they bond a lot by hating somebody. You know, they'll spend hours talking about how much they hate this cousin or that auntie or this, and I just remember thinking, I don't like this kind of conversation. But yet I was always encouraged to be a girl's girl. But I was like, but I don't enjoy like what comes out of being just surrounded by just a bunch of girls. It can get a bit bitchy. So I always kind of was a bit androgynous. I was a bit like, because I didn't gel with them so much, I kind of was always more comfortable in a mixed environment, all men, because with girls I just used to associate it with being mean, because I was raised like that, and that's how, a bit of a mean girl environment, so I used to associate it with being mean.
How many are you?
5.
And how many girls and guys?
4 girls and 1 boy. Boy right at the end.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my parents were not stopping until they got the boy. There was no stopping them.
And why did you choose to be a relationship coach, I would say?
Yeah, I think at first it was just psychology. It was just like I was just really passionate and interested in psychology because I could feel the impact it was having on me being so left out. I could feel like I was way more insecure than the average person. I was way more jealous than the average person. I used to get jealous, you know, even with my mum spending too much time with other siblings, I used to get jealous. And I was thinking, how come nobody else is feeling this way? So I was curious about my own insecurities. So that led me to just study psychology. And what I found is relationship is the only part of psychology that everybody can relate to. Every single person has curiosity when it comes to their romantic relationships. So I realized that if I understand this area of life, I'll understand most people. This is the quickest way to understand pretty much everybody. Not everybody will, you know, go into educational psychology. Not everybody will care about, you know, depression, anxiety, but everybody will care about relationships, every single person. So I found that the more I kind of understood this area, the more I understood people in general. So that kind of was the gravitational pull towards relationship psychology.
Then what is it now?
Now it's just a case of because I do so much therapy and I am so on the ground when it comes to it, I just find it the easiest thing to understand. Once you understand the male psychology and the female psychology, understanding relationships is super, super easy. So I just feel like if I have this understanding, I would like to share it with people. You might not, like I was saying to you before, you might not agree with me right now, but in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, 30 years' time, what I'm saying to you will make some sense because I get to see what patterns happen throughout people's lives when it comes to relationships because of my clients. When I'm telling you something that sounds like I'm being extreme, it's only because I see the outcome in the long run. So that's why I'm trying to save people from their own potential issues in the long run.
You speak fast.
No, I speak so fast. I'm so sorry.
No, just be you. I like
sorry.
the way.
It's like ADHD. It's like it's on double speed, right?
It's okay. It will keep the energy going. We will balance each other.
Yeah.
What do you do that you feel is different than anybody else?
I think that I don't follow trends. I don't follow because everybody else is saying this. I don't follow that. I try and stay very segregated from trends. But I also think I am super objective with men and women. I think most coaches or most therapists have some bias towards their gender. So whether, like they'll say mainly from a man's perspective, mainly from a woman's perspective, I like to think that I'm totally neutral when it comes to gender. I can say something that is against women, I can say something that's against myself, I can say something against men. It just doesn't bother me. Gender doesn't affect how I see the world. So I think the neutrality is what I would probably say is a bit different.
Do you think you're qualified to be a relationship coach?
Yeah, I think that the qualifications is in the outcomes. If it's helping you, whoever's giving you the information, there are some people out there that have got PhDs in X, Y, Z, but what they're telling you is not leading to outcomes. There's other people that have no qualifications and it's leading to outcomes. I would say a healthy balance is when they have the qualifications, but the advice is actually leading to positive outcomes. If you are listening to the advice and you're getting positive outcomes, your clients or just people in general are getting the positive outcomes, that makes anybody qualified.
It's a nice balance.
Yeah.
And you speak a lot about love, but how is your love life?
Good. Well, it took a long time to get good. I would always say it took a very long time. I was it's only recently my partner's been saying to me, you really calm down and you're really like a calm person these days. Who are you? But I was the most jealous, anxious, insecure, paranoid person most of my life. I was super, super paranoid because I felt like I understood, the outcome of relationships really well. I was like, well, this is going to lead to that, and that's going to lead to this, and that, blah, blah. And I would just connect all these dots and come like prepared for the worst case scenario all the time. So it would look like constant accusations, constant anxieties, and needing non-stop reassurance to the point where it was draining, super, super draining. I think over the years and just maturing, I kind of realized that I'd rather one day be massively hurt than spend every single day predicting how I'm going to be hurt and accusing my partner and worrying about this. Even if I have to, even if one day I get massively hurt, I'd rather wait for that one day and be hurt than spend every single day monitoring my partner, fighting with him, asking him what happened in 2004 at 8 p.m. I can't be bothered anymore. So I think letting go of that and enjoying the process. And if we get hurt, I'll be fine. Worst case scenario, I'll be fine. But let me just try and enjoy the process.
It's a nice, pragmatic thought. To consider to switch, but does that mean any woman or man watching this that has what you say you had, you know, jealous, insecure, anxious, paranoia?
Have you ever been with somebody like that or no?
Not high. I wouldn't say on a high level.
Calm people.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I was with calm people, but the question is, if somebody's that much the way you described, do they have hope to reach what you're saying you've reached?
Yeah, they do, but it comes in their self-esteem, not in their partner so much. I would say it's a good combination. Choose a partner that is naturally calm and trustworthy, somebody who does soothe you and calms you, but also having a realization that if you work on yourself enough, that if worst case scenario does happen, no one dies from a breakup. You'll be okay. So if worst case scenario, your partner turns out to be the worst thing behind your back, you will live. You will move on. And this is a sad reality. People think that they are with the love of their life, and if worst case scenario happens, they'll never be able to recover. Everybody gets over everybody. Everybody is forgettable at some stage, sadly. So the more you realize that you will be okay, the more you can actually enjoy it and be present in the moment rather than just worrying constantly. Hi, I'm Sadia Khan, and you might know me as a leading dating coach in modern relationships today. I work with men every single day to help give them the blueprint of understanding relationships, women, attraction, and self-esteem. So if you are feeling stuck in your relationships and you want to unlock your full potential, work with me today by clicking on the link, and I look forward to hearing from you.